Check, check, 1, 2. All right. Hey everybody, I'm Mike Coppolino. I'm a stand-up comedian, and I'm here to tell some jokes on this nice hot day in Denver. It's Monday, March 1st. I'm at the High Dive parking lot. It's got to be like 60 degrees and possibly 70 degrees. I can't wear a jacket. It's amazing. I feel like I'm just missing my thunder blanket. I'm like some naked dog. You know? It's the truth. But I'm here to tell some jokes. I might as well tell some jokes. So here, let's get started. Let's start with a good one. All right. So my new fetish is looking suspicious. Thanks, traffic, for interrupting all that. Yeah, my new fetish is looking suspicious. It's super easy. I just say thank you. It's my new fetish, looking suspicious. But sometimes I work at it. Like whenever I see the cops, I just start running. It's super exciting. You know, but then they catch me because it's hard to run when you're jerking off. That's a joke. That's kind of a joke. Let me tell another joke. So me and my girlfriend have been having trouble lately with the love life. And that's a great one already. Yeah, me and my girlfriend have been having trouble with the love life. So she suggested we get into role playing to spice it up. And I agreed because I'm me. Yeah, so now twice a week, she pretends to be a waitress in a truck stop, and I pretend to be more attractive. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, man. So, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but sleeping tight just makes the bedbugs more aggressive. I'm a guy that knows. Yeah. Oh, man. So, I do a lot of drugs. I know, you could tell. I've done acid over 300 times. I can count. I've done acid over 300 times this year. Not to brag, but acid doesn't affect me. Acid just makes me sober. I wake up every morning and I just think, oh, the sky's exploding. How should I dress? Covered in ants or covered in spiders. That's how I think. With the rhythm of ideas, I'm smoking a lot of resin these days because of the economy. That's the real trouble here. These are all the leftover ideas I had from when I had weed. It's the truth. These are all the leftovers ideas I had from when I had weed. Because I'm smoking resin. I had good ideas before, but now I have the terrible ideas, and they have to come out. Oh, God. Things just happen to me. It's not even jokes. I was sitting in a bar, and this guy just saw me through the window and got super excited because he recognized me, and I had no idea who he was. And he walked into the bar. He walks right up to me and just shakes my hand, all excited. He says, hey, I saw you last night. You were peeing in a police car. I can't believe you're here. Yeah, you're peeing in a police car. You're peeing through the window all over the guns. It was amazing. I just wanted to shake your hand. So I looked at this guy, and I just said, I'm sorry, man. I think you got the wrong guy. That wasn't me. I wasn't peeing in a police car last night. I was sitting at home, preparing to go to work. And the guy said, yeah, right. Yeah, right. And then he left the bar thinking I was the guy that had peed in a police car. You know what that means? It means somebody's walking around right now looking exactly like me. Only they're way cooler than I am, and I can't do anything about it. I can just wait for my credit to get shittier. That's all I'm doing. Ugh. It's terrible for me. I can't even understand credit because I have a PhD in sociology. It's the truth. I have a PhD in sociology. I spent 7 years and $150,000 getting a PhD in sociology, and now I know everything there is to know about being an idiot. It's the truth. It's like that's all I studied. That's all it takes to become a master's in sociology, is just copying everyone's answers for 7 years. That's how you get a degree. You copy everyone's answers. It's the one time you could do it in school and pay money for it. Yeah. So now I have a PhD in sociology, so I'm professionally unemployed. Like, I just know everything about being an asshole. That's all I do. Like, I can't be employed, but sometimes I am. That's one of the great things about being a sociologist, is they give you like a license to like do drugs. It's part of the deal, because they got to test out the new personality flavors whenever they like put out like a drug. So now that I have a PhD in sociology, I can go to like these laboratories and take all these new personality flavors at neurological science conventions. And that's what I do. But I pay $300 because it's a convention. And I'm not a doctor. Well, I am a doctor if you believe a guy having a PhD in sociology is a doctor. It's just a useless degree, is what I'm saying. It's just an excuse to do drugs. Anyways, I go to these parties, and they're all rooftop parties. That's like the amazing thing about it. And we're all on these rooftops, like smoking a bunch of wands, and we don't know what's in it. Like, they know what's in it. They just want to see what it does, you know? And what it does is, does it keep us on the roof? That's the main thing. Does it keep us on the top of this roof, at this rooftop bar? Are we not all killing ourselves because we're taking all these flavors? Yeah, it's great. It's a great idea. And I was at this neurological science convention one time, and I started throwing up on myself. I just started vomiting on myself at 3 in the morning because I was smoking all these flavored personalities. And I was in a conversation with another sociologist, and we were just talking about light shows, you know? And I started throwing up on myself. So I threw up on myself, but I threw up on myself to protect my drugs. Because I was smoking this wand, I knew where the wand was, but I wasn't fast enough to like get out of the way. So I just started throwing up everywhere, but I threw up all over my hand and my jacket and my pants. And then when I was done, I just stood back up and just got back into the conversation like nothing was happening. Because that's what you have to do if you're going to be at these things. You got to be a pro. You got to be a pro. You know? Sometimes we have to like watch videos as part of like our licensing to be a sociologist. Like, I was watching this David Attenborough special the other day where they were testing drugs on spiders. Yeah, they were actually testing drugs on spiders to see what kind of webs they would draw while they were on drugs. And they started feeding these spiders flies laced with LSD to see what kind of webs they would draw. And the spiders started drawing little Mobius strips and little peace symbols and little art projects. And finally the spiders did so much acid that they just spun a tight little ball of web in the corner of the cage, and they said, "I'm done with this experiment." They just stood on it and said, "I'm defiant." And they just kept giving them more acid, and they just kept getting the same result, only longer. And you know, it's a swell experiment. It made you realize that spiders have independent thought. They could think out of the box. You know, and I was impressed and a little frightened. But what I was even more impressed by was what a horrible trip those flies must be on. Like, what a horrible trip for these flies. Because these flies are on acid and they have 10,000 eyes. And if you're giving a fly acid with 10,000 eyes, that's just a bad start for being on acid. And then, as part of an experiment for these flies are stuck in a web. They're stuck in a web by a scientist. And the scientist, the spiders, have no concept of like being stuck. because it's not part of the concept of a fly. Flies have complete freedom. That's why they're flies. They have wings and they eat shit all day. That's complete freedom. They love shit. Shit's everywhere. They have no concept of being stuck. They have no concept of furniture. You're just saying, why? Why can't I move my legs? And that'd be frightening enough if you were on acid and you were a fly, but then you get eaten by a spider while you're on acid. I mean, can you imagine what that would be like? Like seriously, it'd be like, I can't believe this is happening. Why aren't the breathing exercises working? Why is this happening at all? And then you'd be eaten by a spider while you were on acid, and you would just sober up while you were on acid. That's the only thing that can happen in that situation. You just start sobering up and realizing you're getting eaten by a spider. That's like the worst for flies. It's the worst. That was the most impressive thing about watching this video. And that's why I have a PhD in sociology, because I realized it, and I let everyone know. You know? That's how you get a PhD. That's how you do your dissertation. Oh, man. Yeah, but they tested other drugs on the spiders also. They tested caffeine on the spiders, and they drew really chaotic webs that wouldn't catch any flies. Also, all of this is true. So, they just drew really messy webs that had a bunch of unequal spacing in them when they are on caffeine. Like I'm on caffeine right now, obviously. Yeah. And they also they tested meth on these spiders. They actually tested meth on spiders. And then the spiders just realized they were covered in spider and flipped out. It's the truth. All of this is the truth, probably. Somewhere. Oh, man. You know, sometimes I think people are stupid. I do. I think people are stupid, and they get angry because they're telepathic. Like, they just recognize it on my face or something. Like, some thought just comes through. And they realize this thought might have ideas on top of it, or the opposite. Ideas can be without thought. Ideas can be without thought. I believe it. I'm on a lot of drugs. I don't know where I'm in. I'm in the vacuum right now. Like I'm talking into a coffee cup in a parking lot telling jokes. Oh, man. It's amazing. Like I'm the spokesperson for extreme sobriety. I've done so many drugs as a comedian that I just am great at spelling now. I'm just spectacular at spelling, no matter what situation. You know? I spell extreme with 3 E's. That's how I became the spokesperson for extreme sobriety. Huh. But sometimes I get paid to be that. Like sometimes I have to actually get to go to high schools, and I go to pep rallies, and I'm the guy that tells kids about the evils of drugs. I'm that guy. And I hit like 2 high schools a day, like twice a week. That's my job. And all I do is I wear an orange jumpsuit, and I get hooked up in these handcuffs and shackles and stuff, and then I get let out on stage by the vice principal of the high school. And then he tells everybody like the story of my life, and then I tell the story of my life. And the story of my life is I did a bunch of drugs in a hotel room, and now I get raped in prison. And that's the story. But I have to tell these kids stuff about drugs to let them know how bad they are. Like, they're terrible. Drugs are terrible. Oh, man. Like, nitrous oxide is terrible. I think nitrous oxide is awful because it kills brain cells. It kills brain cells. Yeah, it just kills all the brain cells that get in the way of your job at a gas station. Ugh. Yeah. So, I think marijuana is a gateway drug. Yeah, it's a gateway for realizing your boss is an asshole. Ugh, man. Yeah. I smoke bath salts, you could tell. I actually smoke bath salts because I enjoy them. Like, but they get so demonized by the press. Just because some guy on bath salts chews someone's face off on a bicycle path in Florida. That's why they think it's so bad. But I'm here to tell you they're not that bad at all. Like for every guy who chews someone's face off high on bath salts, there's like 2,000 people just visiting the emergency room with a shampoo bottle shoved up their ass. And then everybody else high on bath salts has a great time. People like me who enjoy bath salts. Yeah, but I'm a careful guy, so whenever I smoke bath salts, I always like to roofie my own drink. I roofie my own drink whenever I smoke bath salts. Yeah, that way when I get that urge to chop off my dick and jump out a window, I can quit being so impulsive. I can just tamp those emotions down. Ugh. That's what I tell these kids. They say the early bird gets the worm, right? You kids know that because you're ambitious. Yeah, the early bird gets the worm, but the meth bird stays awake. Yeah, the meth bird stays awake. So in that situation, who really gets the worm? Who gets the worm? It's a quiz now. Early bird or meth bird? No, it's not. It's not the early bird. It is the early bird. What am I talking about? It is always the early bird because the meth bird is never hungry. Oh, man. So I think nitrous oxide kills brain cells. Yeah, I mean, how would I know? How would I know nitrous oxide kills brain cells? I have a tank of it at home. Oh, man. Hey, kids, what's the worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom? You have to smell everything twice as much. Naturally, it's not seeing your kids on the weekend. That's the worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom. That's what I have to tell these kids. Oh, man. Yeah. Once I had a cocaine problem. Once I was professional. Yeah. And my cocaine problem got so bad, I had to go to an NA meeting. Yeah, I was so strung out. And I had to wave my paycheck around almost 3 minutes before I got any coke. Thank you. It's the truth. Oh. I need drugs to do normal things. I had to drop 5 hits of acid just to do my taxes. And I ended up claiming an astral body as a blind dependent. And it was 3 deductions. Yeah, it was 3 deductions because that used to be a legal deduction. When times were fast and loose, that was a legal deduction. And I was like 16 years old and I was like paying taxes. So I started learning accounting like a pro. I did a bunch of drugs. And then the stock market crashed and they had to take that deduction off the book. They just took that deduction away. But I just kept using it because I'm super into accounting and I love money. So anyways, I've been audited 3 times. Yeah, I've been audited 3 times. But I never really worry about it because I'm in jail. Ugh. It's the truth. Like the last time I was audited, this tax assessor came out to me. He came up to me and says, "Hey, Mr. Coppolino. Mr. Coppolino, it says here you have 19 sole proprietorships. You have 44 limited liability corporations. And you have this strange non-profit corporation that's exchanging currency between Malaysia and Greece. It's strange. We don't understand all this at the IRS. Yeah, Mr. Coppolino, we would just want to ask you how you can possibly exist on $4,000 a year. That's what the IRS wants to know." And I looked at this tax assessor and I said, "Well, how do we even know I'm really here right now?" And now I'm in jail and standing in front of you. Ugh. Drugs are awful. Drugs are awful. I actually smoked Jimson weed once. Because I had an experimental phase. I smoked it once and I went blind for 3 days. Yeah, I went blind for 3 days, and when I woke up in the hospital, I thought I was the guy that invented the word dude. And then I just stayed that way for 1.5 years. Just sleeping on couches. But now I'm totally better. Like, now I'm sober. Now I know what day it is. Oh, God. Ugh. I've done so many drugs. I mean, you could tell. But my favorite drug back in the day was Toad. My favorite drug was Toad. I used to lick toads to get high. That's how far gone I was. I lick toads to get high because I'm scared to death of fentanyl. Because I love drugs, and I want a drug that's going to torture me before it puts me to sleep. I just don't want to go straight to sleep. That's why I hate fentanyl. So I lick toads because they can't be laced with fentanyl, because if it gets laced with fentanyl, it just dies. It dies, and I like my drugs alive. I like them kicking. You know? You know, if I see a dead toad in like the terrarium, I'm not going to lick that toad because it might be laced with fentanyl. Like that's a valid like way to avoid fentanyl. It's the truth. Just do live drugs. Never have to worry about it. No. You just got to be immune to salmonella. But I love Toad. It's my favorite drug because it's DMT. Only it's without all the processing of DMT. It's just straight from the toad. And sure, there's a lot of neurological venoms in there and stuff. But the DMT like overshadows all of it. It's like super gnarly. Because, well, I mean, we're in a high school. Who's done acid? I mean, I could tell. You don't have to raise your hand. But you know what acid is like. If you've done acid, you're like, however many hits you do, 5 hits, 30 hits, whatever. You're in the room no matter what. No matter how much acid you do, you're still in the room, and there's horrible thoughts and ideas and just visuals and sounds, but you're still in the room because you're tripping off the room. But when you're doing Toad, when you look at Toad, there's none of that. None of that happens, you know, because it's gnarly as fuck. I mean, you're licking a thing that's trying to defend itself. Yeah, the venom is like is part of his self-defense. Like you lick a toad, you got like 30 seconds to get your drugs back in the cage before they run away or attack you. It's the truth. Because these toads are like 3.5 pounds and they have teeth. And they could just like attack you if they just want to wake up and be exploited again by you. You know, and they don't have like, they're not that well-minded. But I always get the toads back in the cage. You know, because I know what I'm doing. And it's great. Toad is great. Well, DMT is great. Because DMT, you're definitely out of the room. Like if you do DMT, you're definitely out of the room. But here's the nice thing about doing Toad also. Like DMT has a horrible flavor. If you're ever smoking DMT, if you're some shaman smoking DMT, it has a terrible flavor. And you have to keep hitting the pipe. Like, if I'm on DMT, it's not like one hit and I'm on DMT. I've done a lot of drugs. I have to do 8 hits of DMT. 8! I just have to keep smoking the pipe. And the pipe has a horrible flavor that I don't want to be aware of. So I'm just keep smoking DMT until I can't find the pipe. That's my advice for smoking DMT. You cannot have the full experience until you lose your pipe. And then it's great. But if you do Toad, you avoid all that. And that's what makes Toad also amazing. It makes Toad amazing. Yeah. And the trip is super spectacular. Like, you've done DMT, you know what I'm talking about. No kids here have done DMT, but you're not in the room. The thing is, you just disappear, and you're just staring at this, like, beach ball. You're just staring at this beach ball, it's just fluorescent colors. And then you break through this ball, and you're in some dolly painting that's moving around. That's the reality. You're just in the claws of a great bird or a dragon, and you can see everything, and you're flying around, and you're dead. You're totally dead, and you know it, because you can tell from the angle of your head. It's just unchanging. And you're just staring at these, like, mountains underneath you, and they're fully realized mountains, fully snow-capped mountains and everything, but they're all sliding around like some, like, I don't know, like they're on tracks. But they're not on tracks, they're just everywhere and moving around. Fully realistic mountains. And you just, like, looking at that, and then you're, like, staring at the sun. You're just staring at the sun, and this bird is flying you into the sun. But the sun is not the sun. You know, the sun is just like a big rotating tetrahedron of all the scenes of your life just flipping over and over again. But it's all the scenes of your life. But the closer you get to this thing, the more you realize that 85% of these scenes in this crystal are just pictures of Barney Rubble. They're just pictures of Barney Rubble. They're just specifically Flintstones vitamins. And you realize, like, you're on some ancestor trip for new souls. And then you realize your connection with the universe. And just as you realize all that, all of it, you just wake up. You just wake up as suddenly as you went to bed. And you're just sitting up in bed, and you're naked, and you're all limp, and you can smell colors. You just smell colors. You smell your whole room in colors. But colors smell like gummy bears if gummy bears are made out of ammonia and copper. It's just a smell of, like, burning. Burning, but not the burning you get from cocaine. The burning that's like the burning of synapses within your brain. And then you just go, oh my God, this is fucking great. Let me do some more Toad. You just wake up and you go, oh, let me do it again. And that's why it's such a great drug. It's a great drug. I mean, for me, it's a great drug for me because it's the only drug I know that can have sex and make more drugs. It's the truth. I never have to visit a dealer ever again because I do Toad. I just have 2 toads. I breed them in my bathtub, and now I have drugs. You know? I never have to visit a dealer ever again. I never have to worry about, like, the prices changing or anything. Yeah. The only thing I have to worry about is, like, you know, getting bitten or, you know, having this toad shit on my face while I'm doing it, you know? That's the only thing I have to worry about. A dealer could do much worse, you know? But that's why you lick the back of the toad. You don't lick the front. You know, because you're not some shaman. You know, you're more of a recreational toad licker. You don't want to be a pervert to, like, experience. Or toads. Ugh, man. You know, I broke my one rule. I just broke my one rule. Not to have any bestiality jokes. I don't want any bestiality jokes in my albums. Like, I'm trying to say I have ethics. Yeah, I'm done with like all the drug things. Thank you. If you're gonna applaud right here. I'm done talking about what I do in high schools. Where was I at? What am I doing? That's the problem. Ugh, man. I do so many drugs. Sometimes I think the news is fake because people are holograms. It's the truth. Like, I look at the news, I know it's fake because everyone's condescending. Like, no one thinks like this. Ugh. I saw a news story the other day. This made the news. A guy in Alabama caught a live fish with his own hands. And then he made the news because he tried to swallow it. He tried to swallow a fish he caught with his own hands. Yeah. Couldn't believe it, just because to show you not all people are pelicans. Like, that's the news I saw. Oh. I am actually a comic. I'm not just some guy on drugs. It's the truth. It's the truth, you know? I actually have to tell dad jokes. I tell dad jokes sometimes, you know? But, because I'm a stand-up comic. But I tell imitation dad jokes because I don't have any kids. I'm just a successful comic. Yeah. But it's just, I have to do it, you know, because all these kids that think they're comics walk up to me and they respect me and they wish I was their dad because I'm doing drugs with them, you know? And I just laugh in their faces. I have to, you know, because if I was their dad, I wouldn't be funny or cool. You know, I'd just be worried. I'd be worried all the time. I'd be worried, like, who is my kid doing drugs with, and why doesn't he have a business plan? He's 30. That's the worry all comedians think about, you know? That's how you become a pro. But I tell dad jokes. So, let me tell a few dad jokes. So, hey, you hear that Durex just came out with a condom that enhances male sensitivity? Finally, right? Finally. Yeah, just what we've all been waiting for. Yeah, for added value, each condom is wrapped in a little apology note. Thank you. That's a dad joke. Here's another dad joke. It's also an imitation dad joke. So these are concepts. So anyways, I manscape. Like a real man. Yeah, I use a lighter. I use a lighter to manscape because that's what a real man does. Because a real man smells like barbecue and chicks really dig it. It's super manly. That's a good dad joke. Here's another dad joke. Hey, what's the worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom? Not seeing your kids on the weekend. That's the worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom. If you're a dad. But I'm an imitation dad, so the worst thing about doing cocaine in a bathroom is just running out of cocaine. God. Oh, they say everything comes in handy for the obsessive masturbator. Yeah, it's true. It's true. You know, last night I jerked off to complete privacy. I wore a tinfoil hat while I did it, you know, because Jesus is watching. And Jesus works for the government now. Oh, man. So, people could tell me I live in a bad neighborhood because I live there. But that's not true. Yeah. I actually live in a bad neighborhood because I built all the houses. Thank you. Alright. Man. I actually lived in a bad neighborhood once. Yeah. It was going through retrification. It was going through the opposite of gentrification. It was going through retrification. Yeah, college graduates are moving into my neighborhood and dying of heroin overdoses. Ugh. God. Dad jokes, right? Like that's a dad joke. Kind of. I mean, if you're worried about, like, property values, that's a great dad joke. Oh, man. You ever throw up on yourself because you're too fucked up to get out of the way? No, me neither. It's true. I never threw up on myself because I was too fucked up to get out of the way. I actually threw up on myself so I wouldn't have to clean my car. I threw up on myself so I wouldn't have to clean my car. I did it because I was smart. Because that's the smartest way of throwing up in a car, if you're driving. Because it's the only way you can keep your eyes on the road. And you never have to clean your car. If you throw up on yourself, you never have to clean your car. You just get to your destination, then you just step out of your car, and you brush off all the vomit, and then you go right to work. Because you got to make child support payments. Yeah. Real dads understand these jokes because real dads understand society. And society understands extortion. That's the truth. Ugh. God. Dad jokes, right? I gotta think of more dad jokes. It's like, now I have nothing but time. I'm in the sun. I'm in Denver. I'm staring at a pile of snow like snow is done. Like feeling like snow is done. But I know snow is not done. I know cold is not done. It's March 1st. It's March 1st, 2021. You know, I worry about the future. I do, I worry about the future. I've actually been taking pills for anxiety. Yeah, I've been taking pills for anxiety, obviously, and it's been really fucking terrifying. It's been fucking terrifying. I actually had to complain to my doctor about it. I said, "Doctor, these pills aren't working." Like, they're not working. I'm just high strung. And my doctor says, "Relax." My doctor just said, "Relax, quit worrying, I know what I'm doing." And that didn't help. I said, "Well, of course you know what you're doing. You're a great white shark. You're 11 feet long. Yeah, and all your prescriptions are jump scare videos. Like, Jesus Christ, man. Ugh. Yeah. Yeah, so anyways, I went to the emergency room once. I'll admit it, once I was weak, I went to the emergency room. I had a kidney stone. But I didn't know it was a kidney stone. I just thought it was like some horrible, horrible pain. So I went to the hospital. I went to the emergency room. And when I got there, a doctor grabbed my hands and told me to quit hitting myself in the face because I didn't have medical insurance. And he just watched me pass a kidney stone in the emergency room. And then he charged me $5,700. That's right. He charged me $5,700 to watch me pass a kidney stone, you know, with an MRI. I was like, fuck, you know? Ugh. Anyways, where am I at? What am I doing? You know? You know, I saw a news story the other day, like the other day before COVID, and it was a news story about revenge pooping. They actually had a story on Denver 7 News, and it was a 4-minute news story about revenge pooping. And did you know that revenge pooping is a crime? It's actually a crime in the city of Denver, specifically a crime. And it's defined by knowing who did it and knowing why they did it. Did any of you know that? I didn't. I was riveted to the news. Yeah, they actually trotted a guy out from the city, and he told me that. This nice guy that was all like shaven, you know, and he had a tie on and everything, and he didn't have a jacket on, and his background was a bunch of books. A bunch of law books. He was in a big, great hall, and the guy said there was 137 cases of revenge pooping in the city of Denver that last year. And that made the news. 137 cases of revenge pooping in the city of Denver last year. And I thought, wow, one person could beat that. That's all I could think about. It's like one person could do 137 revenge poopings in the city of Denver. There could just be a guy on the loose just doing that. And I started thinking about it, and by the time I stopped thinking about this news story, I didn't know whether it was a warning or an advertisement for revenge pooping. I just thought the news is trying to sell me more news later on. Because that wasn't an idea in my head. Revenge pooping was not a concept in my head. That was not a thought of revenge. Like, pooping is just like a form of defense for me, you know, just to get out of a fight. But revenge pooping? You know, I never thought of like crapping on an expensive car or a screen door. At least not in my lifetime. I always thought I would just, have to die and get reincarnated as a bird to like crap on somebody's car. But that was when I dreamt of being a philosopher, That I wanted to be a philosopher in another life. I just wanted to be some fucking bird that shot on cars. So people can get philosophical about it. But now I realize that there's revenge pooping in the world. So I could just crap on a person's car now and just leave a note. I could just leave a note in the crap. I'd say, nuclear war is way easier than regular war, and leave it in the crap. Give people something to think about, Just leave a note saying 99% correct is 100% wrong. That's a great note to leave in a pile of crap, or danger mudslides. Ugh. But that's what I think about when I see the news. Oh, man. I actually have free television. I'm not caught up in the Mandalorian. I'm not into helmet culture or anything. I have free television. It's the government television. Because I said, they're getting rid of like everything and making it digital. I just said, fuck it. Just give me the news, I'll take the news. And that's it. So then I had 3 channels again. I gave up cable. I had 3 channels. And then the news started selling me funeral insurance. That's what happened. The news started selling me funeral insurance. I didn't understand it. I just thought, what's going on here, And then I realized that the news was out of money. And they were taking everything they can get. And as soon as that happened, the news just had to lie. It's correct. It's the obvious thing. There's so many things to compete against, they had to start lying just to keep up ratings. So that's what the news became. And it's fucking amazing. I had to watch all that happen. But now I'm successful. Now I have cable. And now I know what reality is. Reality. Is there such a thing? Anyways. This is pretty sunny out. It's not like I'm in a comedy club or anything. I'm just here telling jokes, walking around, practicing a lot. But I gotta wrap this up because I have life. I have a life. That's the other joke. In this entire series of jokes is I have a life that I have to get back to. So, and it's true. I'm actually, I know this will be hard to believe. It'll be hard to believe, but I'm a life coach. I'm a life coach. It's the truth. Anybody can be a life coach. All you have to have is business cards. I have business cards. I'm a life coach, and I have a patio, temporarily. I have a patio, and I have business cards. That's all you need to be a life coach. Yeah. And it's a great occupation because, people are desperate and need to be disappointed. It's part of being a life coach. They have to have it in a safe environment. So that's what I do. I just sit underneath the patio, and my clients see the sun moving through the slats in the patio cover, and they think time is worth money. It's super important to being a life coach. That's the first lesson. It's all subliminal. It's great for brainwashing. And then I tell them this. All of them. All of my clients are victims of life coaching. This is what I tell them in the first minute. Once I get around to all the contracting. Is I say, hey, the only thing worse than failure, this is a great secret in life. This is a great secret in life first, before you even get into it. The best secret, the most important secret in life, is that the only thing worse than failure is listening to someone tell you how to be better at it. And I just tell them that with all the mistakes thrown in. And then I demand payment. And I'm cheap. It's only $60. I charge $60 for life coaching. $60 an hour. And it's just 1 minute of that and 59 minutes of sarcasm. Because that's how you get through life, is sarcasm. $1 a minute. Ugh. Anyways, that's enough. That's enough. I actually can tell more. I could just keep on going. That's the ridiculous part. But I'm not going to. I have like better jokes like right there just sitting. I have like business ideas I could talk about. I could talk about all these things. I could talk about movies. I could just do movies for like 20 minutes if you want. And I have. And it's on albums. And you can listen to them. I actually have 50 albums. I have 50 albums. Why not? I have 50 albums of this. So, take that with a grain of salt, you know? But I have 50 albums of this. I've been practicing doing comedy for like 7 years. I've been doing street comedy for 5 years. Maybe 5.5. So, that's what I do now. But these were all long-form jokes because I was in a parking lot. Like, I had room and I had sun, and I was able to move around. If I'm on the street doing cold, like, rooms, the coldest rooms, I just do Phyllis Diller sets. I just do jokes and jokes and jokes and jokes, like one-liners on top of one-liners. I try to do 12 laughs a minute. Because I'm like, I have autism. I just can't help it. I just want to be better than all the comics. It's like my drive. It's not even my drive. It's like to be funny. It's just to be better. Yeah. Just to be better. Just to have ideas with thoughts in them, you know? That's all I want. I want them to sync up. That's all I want. I want to be like, I just want this to be like the Tai Chi of being mental. I just want this to be like the new skateboarding, you know? The new parkour. I want this done in skateboard parks. That's how I want it. I want it to be loud, I want it to be soft, I want the concrete to like distort everything. That's what you can do. You can do all of this if you're like, if you really want to. You can like put special effects in there, you can do whatever you want. I'm actually walking all over a parking lot right now. I mean, there's lubricant in this parking lot. There's lubricant right here. Like, this is amazing. I don't know whether it's lubricant or like a marijuana derivative, actually. That's the trouble. That's like the old eternal question. But the reality is, it's not any of that. It's just some product from like a salon. It's like some skin cream, but it could be anything because it looks like marijuana. Like all the packaging looks like marijuana. But I guess that's because it's soothing, because you're spending all that money on looking good. Oh, God. I don't spend any money on looking good. I don't spend any money on looking good. I just spend my money on drugs. That's how I look good. You know? I just avoid mirrors because of all the hallucinations. Anyways, it has been enough. Like, this is... I've come to like two places. Like two ending points where I could have just dropped off. Like the second ending point was better than the first ending point. But there's like nothing I could do about it because I'm on drugs. I have no endings. And now I have an ending. This is it. This has been a recording. I don't know how long it's been. Like, how would I know? Oh, God. Yeah, 49 minutes. 49 minutes of telling jokes. That's great. All right. I'm not even going to get to 50. Ah, too bad. It was horrible. Not really. We'll see. Anyways, that's been it. This has been, I don't know. I don't even know what the name of the album is. It's Jokes for Schizophrenics. That's the name of this album, is Jokes for Schizophrenics. It's like 50 albums long. And it's an album about me telling jokes to a parking meter or a tree or some concrete. Thank you very much. I've been Mike Coppolino. Have a beautiful day. Thank you.